out with Sam and Kim and Cole, launching from Shakespare with the aim to Downwind to Arkles, so just winging out to the wind line. Onshore day today, kind of. It's been ages trying to pick out what spot to go from, real tricky. But now coming out, the bumps are actually pretty good. So I haven't had onshore conditions for a while, and this looks amazing. So I sized up to the 1401, I didn't know what was out here, and this is way more than I was expecting. But it looks perfect. Sam's using my spare axis setup, so he's got the 1201 on, 50 skinny, and my crazy short. I've got on the 1401 for 45 skinny and the 80 Pro mast. He's got my old military 90 mast. That is for sale if anyone wants it. If anyone wants one of the stiffest masts of all time, 90 centimeter mast, hit me up. We can discuss it. But this looks really fun. 2.8 PPC wing as usual, only one I need. I left my mini pump at home today, I just didn't want extra weight, and we're not going far. PPC paddle, I've got the 8.6 board, so I thought it was going to be tough conditions, and I just wanted a nice easy paddle up and no stress for the actual run itself, so that if I got any fatigue I could just come down knowing I'd get up super easy, rather than a smaller board that would be easier once you're up, but the stress of staying up maybe in marginal conditions might outweigh the whatever other benefits there are. So this looks amazing. I'm super stoked. Hope everyone else is having a good Saturday. Yeah, it's a good size one. Pedal stroke to get the 1401 activated. Gives you a bit more stability for when you stand up. And you can use this time to just feel what's going to happen to the board once you are standing. So yeah, 8.6 today. That went down. Nice easy takeoff as predicted. I just got to try and get this foil. Oh yeah, that feels good. Tell you what, this 1401 is actually pretty quick. Nice grunty size swell today, onshore conditions. The longest board in the range for axis is the 8.6. The highest span foil, the 1401, but the 80 Pro mast really does keep them together. You feel a little bit of wobble, but it's nothing that you can't deal with, and it's not surprising with the leverage that's on this gear. So fading off here, keep my speed high, and then I'll just try and see what I can tap into. So because I'm a little bit slow for the conditions, I'll have to ride high, risk breaching. Keep working on my stance. So just trying to dial in your feel, my feel, is what I'm up to. Do I want more front foot pressure, less? Can I control pitch? And then once I get comfortable, I'm looking at my direction, like, can I extend the run? Can I go a bit wide? The last thing personally I want is to go fast downwind. I want my runs to take as long as possible, because I'm out here to basically have fun, surf, but just play the game that is downwinding. but the setup feels good. I'm a touch slow. Sam's on the 1201, so he's going to have a blast out here. I wish I was on the 1201, especially with this bigger board for the ease of takeoff. And then yeah, I just paddled up first go, pretty easy. Goes to show that these narrower, longer boards are pretty sweet. So if you're struggling to catch bumps, the option probably is a longer board, longer, narrower board for the actual catching, especially if you've already got the ability to ride bumps. So if you're out there buying something and it's your first board or two, don't try and buy a forever board. Get a nice, long, narrow one. If you need help to catch. Sorry, tricky section. And then that might turn into your good conditions board, believe it or not. So when the ocean gets big, you've got to size down your foil and size up your board typically. So your beginner board might turn into your weapon for onshore when the bumps are the size of two-story houses. Anyway, let's enjoy this bump. Quite classy. I've rolled off most of them, so we'll try and keep up with some. Front foot backwards, take a little bit of that pressure, and then also move my back foot back as well to remove the pressure. And I'm just going to try and balance out the weight and pressure. So, you know, that's something you can personally dial in. What's right for you? What are you after? You know, which leg is typically getting fatigued? If it's your back leg, then just experiment and find what will ease that fatigue. You know, there's so much room to dial in things, whether it's adding a shim for lift or putting a reverse shim in for less lift. Where's your mast connecting to the board? It's more towards the centre of the board. Things are going to be a bit more flighty, a bit more lifty. Your mast is towards the back of the board. You might end up a bit more back foot dominant. Because the weight of the board is already leveraging down the front of the foil for you. So then it's your job to lift it. Somebody in the comments asked about, due to the fact that I've written so much gear, perhaps I could do a video talking about gear, and I responded with the fact that it's so individualized, from anything from your weight to your experience, your fitness, and then what's your experience been? Has it been a front foot pressure rider, back foot? Which gear are you using? Which brand? Size of board, mast, what's your conditions? So to actually give anyone beta in specific without hearing the actual case, you know, to a general audience is going to be really tough. But what you can do is explain to people how you came to your conclusions and what you experienced, and then maybe you can use that information to figure out your own conclusions. And so I'm going to do that. I'll make that video. I had actually discussed it with somebody before this recent comment. So that's kind of lined up already. So tune in for that. And if you have any questions that you want covered, actually, that's a good idea that just popped into my head. Let me know. So just mention in the comments if you've got a question for a beta video. What would you like to know? What's the grey areas in your opinion? And just write in your comment that you're suggesting it for the video. Otherwise I'll probably give you an answer that's too long from my own perspective, but the video will be with a pro rider, so, or even two pro riders coming up. Nice little run. It's a bit fatiguing, it's a lot of energy. Got some big gear to move. So with that in mind, you know, I can tweak my own little beta. How do I make this even easier? How do I be more efficient? What works? What's not working? Is that new to what I usually think, or is it old lessons I've forgotten, or just have become so commonplace they're in the back of my mind now? Let's enjoy some of these bumps. I just noticed that I'm quite focused on the minor bumps as well as the major bumps, especially with big gear. The minor bumps have energy in them that you can use, especially with these bigger foils. So if you ride high into those little bumps, you can access what they contain, but if you're riding your foil deep or a smaller foil, those minor bumps, like the wind chops, will have less effect. So if you're wondering how people are connecting the big bumps, it's probably because they're riding their foil higher than you are into these small bumps that they can then use the slingshot. Good bump. Can't even see Sam now, I don't know where he is. Sometimes I lose him and I'm looking behind me, but he's actually overtaken me. So. Another thing I've noticed myself doing is I've centered my front foot a bit more. So normally my front foot is more towards the heel side rail, but with these higher span foils you need more leverage to take control of them. So I've just shifted my front foot closer to the toe side rail, and that allows me to roll toe side more with the front foot, whereas that's typically more of a back foot dominated turn for me. So my back foot is always toe side, which allows me to initiate turns, but this bigger span foil I need more leverage. That was a good bump. ocean. So where's my path? I don't want to go in anything up. A good friend of mine, Shane, mentioned a long time ago that he always tries to point his board, this is pre-foiling, into the deepest part of the ocean. So where's the biggest hole? You just keep aiming for that deep hole, and that means you'll always be downhill because you're always trying to get to the lowest point, but everything around you is trying to raise you up. So you're continually looking to fall. It's the sort of beta that comes true for you, but it takes a while to figure this stuff out. So the more you learn, the more other people's advices start to ring true, the people that are actually know what they're doing and not just talking about it online. I've had so many different stages that have worked for me, and I thought I knew what was happening, and I would give advice, you know, to the best of my knowledge, and it, you know, it obviously works because you're out there doing it, but then you move on to the next stage of development, and all of a sudden you realise that advice wasn't quite correct. You know, you could do it, but it wasn't optimal beta, so then it goes both ways too. So a pro's advice isn't necessarily going to work for you, and the other way around. So they've gotten through and have all these little learnings that they've figured out, but they only really work if you've got that background knowledge. It really is your own journey. You know, you can pick up a little bit here and there, but it's all about time on the water and keeping an open mind and trying new things constantly. Don't get stuck into old habits. It gets boring too if you stop learning. It's a good one. The front end of this bump. So you really, if you can chase down that front end. There's nowhere to go beyond it. It gives you a nice little target. So a bump is a high point, a noticeable high point. And then a high point is always lowered by a low point. Maybe not the lowest, but it can't be high forever. So you know that behind this high point is a low point coming. And you can sit yourself in that low point and access it. Essentially all there is to downwinding. Chase the high point. It'll leave a low point in its wake that you'll be sitting in. And then you just kind of sync up the distance between you and that high point for the current conditions. Chase bumps, but not if you're going to pump to them. You chase them using riding energy. Try to cut your way through and get over them. But don't chase them with like this and just pump toward them. Like you're training for leg day. Or this is a true reward at the end of it. Been on this side of the peninsula for a while doing this run. It's really nice. Reminiscent. I had a jet ski for a while and my girlfriend would flick me into these bumps and I'd ride them all the way down the peninsula on the 1300 in my 63 litre PPC wingboard. It was a good time. In fact, this 1401 feels very much like the 1300 for span. It's a much bigger top end. Something out of the hole here, hopefully. There's a lot of energy. Use. Probably my favourite camera angle, but it's so fatiguing to hold it. Okay, getting refraction now. Wetting inside my wetsuit. Double wetsuit on today. My wetsuit was wet and filled with sand, so I put an undersuit under it. Currently riding with 5.5 mils of wetsuit on. It's pretty steamy. Retracting, they're taking out the troughs, removing the low point. Makes it much harder to use them. Not so obvious. Today was that I decided that for an actual downwinder I need an efficient setup, hence the 864 19 wide and the Art Pro. I got shut down on a run yesterday because it was pretty light and I had a Spitfire on, and the Spitfire is not a downwind foil. Spitfire is more for if there's excess energy out there and it looks playful, and you can stick that thing on and turn and have a great time. If it's really light energy, you need a foil setup that is efficient, less drag. So with that in mind, I've switched to categorising my run. Is it a point A to B? Okay. Create the setup that's going to get me. And then fun is secondary. Like turns are secondary. The bumps are slowed, I can overtake them now. Touch look at the 1401. So that's cool. My right high. Up to hunt down that start of the bump. To my right there, but I'm not going to get it, but I can get the one behind it. So then I've got to let the one behind it go underneath, turn off, and then connect into it again, give me some pumps up to speed, and see what's next. Run all the way to the Wade River. I used to do that with the jet ski. There is a road down the Wade, so you can get picked up. At the end of the run is close, so I'm allowing myself to use a bit more energy. Probably a bad habit. Very small bump here.